and welcome to my channel. It's Saturday night crafting. I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you've had a really good week. My kids have been at school. It's been awesome. So anyways, I wanted to make a fun card today using a different kind of style of cut. And so I have this paper pad here, which is a brand new paper pad from Lou Collins's new line Textures. And I love it. It's steampunk paper and it's so pretty. This one in particular is my favorite. So I wanted to work with it and I really wanted to have that center image really pop. So this is what I decided to do. Originally I cut my card base, which you can see there on the left. And then I thought, no, it's not going to be big enough because this paper pad is A5. So I decided, let's just do an A5 card. Why not? I love making my own card bases and I love it because I can change the shape, change the size, and do whatever suits whatever stamp or paper I've got. So I'm trimming down my paper now so that it's about 1 centimeter smaller than my card base. So I've got a nice little border going on. Now, in retrospective, I wish I had cut a gold background to go behind this. I think it would have pulled the whole card together. So if you're doing something like this, it's worth thinking about getting some foil card and maybe adding some foil behind it. So here's my element that I really want to pop out. I'm going to mark on my top sheet of paper where that element is with a little bit of extra space on each side. Now I'm going to aim to cut almost like a triangle out the middle. So I want to have a top panel and I want to have a bottom panel, but I want it to be kind of funkified. So I'm going to cut it on an angle. And I want to make sure that that element in the middle is what you can see through the paper. So I've got that scrap bit left over and I've got my two bits here. Now you can see in a second when I go and line it up just to double check it, I didn't cut it short enough or get enough of an angle to make sure that that middle bit is showing through like I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it down again and just take it just ever so slightly smaller so that we can see that beautiful clock in the middle, the full clock element. So we'll just cut it down. But the papers are both so gorgeous. I really wanted both those papers to shine. This is a great way to use up your paper pads, especially if you've got some beautiful designs on it, like a big butterfly or something like in a scrapbook paper that, you know, in a scrapbook layout would be great, but in card making is really difficult because you don't want to cover up that element. This idea is fantastic for making those things pop out of the middle. So if you've got those scrapbook papers and you don't know what to do, grab them and do this technique with them. I've got 2 rolls of tape here. One is double-sided tear tape and the other is double-sided foam tape. These are both from Craft Stash. They're both from the Basics range. They're the really, really cheap tapes. And they're fab. I've bought multiples on of both of them now, and I just love them. I haven't been able to get my hands on any Sickwang tape, which is the Score Pal tape. And so I decided to invest in the cheapo stuff from Craft Stash, and it's fantastic. It's really dead sticky. This is a little trick I learned from Natasha Foote, where you go and stick your adhesive on all sides and a little bit down the middle, and then you pull back on one of each of the corners. And that way it allows you to slippy slidey your top bit around until you get it positioned just right, and then you can just pull out those release papers. Now I'm taking my foam tape and just adding some onto the back of this little square. I want it to kind of pop up a bit so that your eye is really drawn into that picture below it. My paper is exactly the same size on the top and bottom, so I'm just lining them up nice and perfectly with each other. And again, I'm going to do the same on the top. I'm going to get that foam tape on. It doesn't matter if it's a hot mess on the back because we're going to cover it up when we stick it down. And you can see my face there poking through, trying to line it up perfectly. Now we've got the element perfectly centered and it looks gorgeous. I've got my strips dryer on my desk as usual. And I just started pulling out some metallic in the gold range because a lot of golds and bronzes. So I've got kind of a bronze pearlescent paper, a gold, and then I got the shiny golds. And I thought, actually, I want the shiny gold. And this is when I thought, oh, it would have been great if I didn't stick that first piece of paper down, because it would make it easier now to trim these little bits off instead of having to measure with my pencil and then cut it and then stick it down. I've sticky backed all my little strips, these really thin ones. I just put adhesive, double-sided adhesive on it before I cut the little strips so they're nice and ready to go. I can just pull the backing release paper off and stick them down. So I've got another one here. Again, I've got to measure it because I've stuck my card front down already, and it would be great if I could stick that gold underneath there. I think a gold piece of A5 to go underneath that panel would have looked beautiful, but never mind. If I do it again, then I'll make sure I do that. These are the elements that go with this set. So there's a huge whole set. I'll link it all down below where you can get the stamps, the dies. I think there's some chipboard elements. It's very much a steampunk kind of grunge look. Beautiful typewriter. This one actually comes with a die as well to cut it out. I've got the clock elements here that I've gone and cut out in 2 shades of brown, so a really light brown and a really dark brown to kind of go with the color scheme. I cut out all those bits. Now you can see the card on the left is a card I made originally, and it all went pear-shaped, so I had to chuck that idea out the window. So if you're thinking, why does that card look different? That's why. So back to my proper card now. I've gone ahead and cut out happy using those dies you just saw there, the little letters dies. It comes with a coordinating stamp set as well, which I'm not using in this, but I've gone and cut out the dies. I've layered them up 3 times, so they're nice and thick like chipboard. I'm going to take this stamp set here, which has got happy birthday in it, and because I've die cut out happy, I'm going to go ahead and just stamp birthday. So I'm going to cut my stamp. And don't freak out. It's a great thing to do. It makes your stamps go a lot further if you're willing to chop them, and I can always just line it back up and use happy birthday all together. They're nice and sticky, so I can put them back together whenever I want. I'm going to use my anti-static powder bag and kind of wipe on top of my card so I don't get any sticking embossing powder where I don't want it. And I'm using my VersaFine ink pad and a gold embossing powder from Alina Crafts. So I'll do my best to link all these down below. I'll probably forget something, so please just shout if I have done. I've gone ahead and cut that out with my paper trimmer. And I'm just kind of working out how long I want my strip to be and where I want it to go. I've got this Treasure, I think it's called Treasure Gold. I've had this for probably 10 years. It's still going. It looks like it's dried out a little bit, but it is still very, very wet. And all you need is the tiniest touch of it. I literally just touched my finger on there, nothing more. And I did all the letters with almost 1 finger worth. It's amazing. This stuff stretches forever. I've had it for 10 years. It just doesn't die, but it kind of gives this metallic finish to it. So it gives it a kind of metallic-y grunge. This is a gilding wax, I believe is what it's called. There's lots of companies out there that do them, but look at this dark brown cardstock that now looks metallic. I forget I have these all the time. I've got it in silver as well, and I've got it in gold and bronze. So they're really, really fun to work with. If I can find this, I will link it down below for you, or link something that is the same. Because I know what it's like when you're trying to find something you've watched in a video. It is so frustrating. So I'll do my best to find it for you. But basically all I'm doing is taking every one of my elements, and some of these are super uber teeny tiny, and just rubbing my finger over them. Make sure you've got a scrap bit of paper because this does flake occasionally, and it will go a long way. So the tiniest flake will cover your whole desk. So be very careful and wipe up when you're done. I've gone ahead and just kind of dusted the edges, and now I'm cleaning my fingers with baby wipes so I can put that in the bin and not stain anything with the gilding wax. So I'm making sure to very well clean my hands. And I'm going to take my elements and place them all over my card and work out where I'm going to go, and then start gluing them down as I go so that I don't move everything out the way, so I can make sure I know where I'm going with all of them. I'm putting a very, very thin layer of glue on because I don't want it squidging out the sides. If it did, it's not the end of the world because my glue is very, it dries clear and a bit matte, so it's not the end of the world, but I was trying really hard to make sure that with these little fiddly elements, I'm putting just the tiniest amount on, enough to keep it stuck. I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of my birthday so it pops up off those elements, and then just adhere the bottom ones down. So the bottom one, I thought I wanted to stick over just slightly. I don't want to cover up that element too much, but I kind of wanted the card to sort of blend together and have sort of, I wanted to say a sense of unity. I don't think that's the right word, but I kind of wanted it all to kind of go together. So I thought poking off over the edge would be really nice. I did shift it there for a second because I didn't like how much it was going onto that clock face. And then I'm just sticking them down. Now the gilding wax does stay a bit movable for a little while, so I'm making sure to press it down but not rub. I'm kind of trying to tap it on, if that makes sense. And that's my finished card. So I hope you enjoyed the video tonight. I hope it inspires you to get out those papers that have got a beautiful element in it and cut your other paper to kind of make it shine and make it pop, if that makes sense. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on Saturday night. I look forward to seeing you again this week. Happy crafting. Have a great weekend. Yay! Bye!